I don't know exactly when it started, but lately, every time money comes up, my chest feels a little tighter. Like I'm already tired before the conversation even begins. It's not panic. It's a quiet weight that shows up without warning. It's strange how a number on a screen doesn't stay on the screen. It follows you into dinner, into the shower, into those quiet moments when your mind won't slow down. Money stops being math and starts feeling personal. Have you noticed it doesn't always feel stressful out loud? Sometimes money feels heavy in the silence, when no one is asking questions and no decisions are being made. That quiet pressure is what so many people are carrying right now. What if the reason money feels so heavy right now has less to do with the numbers and more to do with what those numbers represent in your life? For many investors, money quietly absorbs pressure, fear, and responsibility long before it shows up as stress. Sometimes the weight you feel isn't financial, it's emotional. Hey, I'm Bella, and this is Money Talk with Bella. This channel exists because money is never just money. It's about safety, identity, and the future we're quietly trying to protect. If you're here for clarity-based growth, not quick fixes, you're in the right place. Today, we're not solving anything or offering shortcuts. We're simply sitting with why money feels heavier lately and what that weight might really be touching. There's a quiet pressure we rarely talk about, this feeling that by now we should already have money figured out. No one says it directly, but it shows up in comparisons, in milestones, in the way we measure ourselves against others. And over time, that silent expectation starts to feel heavy. Money conversations don't stay neutral for long. They start to feel personal, like they're quietly judging our decisions, our priorities, or how fast we're moving through life. And suddenly, money isn't just money, it feels tied to our sense of worth. What's confusing is that even when nothing is technically wrong, the tension doesn't disappear. It hums quietly in the background, during calm moments, during silence, even when things are going okay. That constant mental noise is often what makes money feel so heavy lately. I've realized that when money feels heavy for me, it's almost never about a single bill or a specific number. It's more like an emotional weight that settles in quietly, even when everything looks fine on paper. What's harder to explain is this constant feeling of being behind, even when I can't clearly say behind compared to what. It's like running a race where no finish line was ever defined. Sometimes I notice my mind drifting backward, replaying old financial decisions and questioning them with today's perspective. I wonder if a different version of me would feel lighter, or if this weight would still be there. And there are moments when I don't even want to talk about money at all, not because I'm avoiding it, but because I don't yet have the language for what it brings up inside me. Sometimes the weight comes from emotions we haven't learned how to name. I think a lot of us don't carry money by itself. We carry it alongside expectations, comparisons, and quiet timelines we never consciously agreed to. And over time, all of that pressure gets emotionally attached to every dollar we think about. Money often becomes the place where everything else quietly lands. Stress from work, pressure from relationships, and questions about self-worth don't disappear. They just collect there, so the number feels heavier than it logically should. So when money feels heavy, it doesn't automatically mean you've failed. Sometimes it's simply where life is placing its weight in this season. And understanding that can already make the load feel lighter. When money feels heavy for you, I want you to pause and look around your life, not your bank account. What else tends to be happening at the same time? Work pressure, family expectations, or quiet uncertainty about the future. Often, money isn't the source of the weight, it's just where everything else lands. For some people, The heaviness feels like fear of losing ground or making the wrong move. For others, it feels like pressure, like you should be further ahead by now. And sometimes, it's not either one, just a constant tension that's hard to put into words. If money could talk back for a moment, it probably wouldn't judge you. It might say you're carrying more than just numbers, expectations, responsibility, and timing that isn't fully in your control. And recognizing that can be the first step toward feeling a little lighter. When money feels heavy for you, I want you to pause and look around your life, not your bank account. What else tends to be happening at the same time? Work pressure, family expectations, or quiet uncertainty about the future. Often, money isn't the source of the weight, it's just where everything else lands. For some people, the heaviness feels like fear of losing ground or making the wrong move. For others, it feels like pressure, like you should be further ahead by now. And sometimes, it's not either one, just a constant tension that's hard to put into words. If money could talk back for a moment, it probably wouldn't judge you. It might say you're carrying more than just numbers, expectations, responsibility, and timing that isn't fully in your control. And recognizing that can be the first step toward feeling a little lighter. You don't have to answer any of these questions right now. There's no test here, no deadline, and no pressure to figure anything out today. Sometimes the most responsible thing an investor can do is simply notice what they're feeling without trying to fix it. Some questions aren't meant to be solved immediately. They're meant to sit beside us, quietly, while we live our lives and gather more perspective. Over time, clarity tends to arrive on its own, not through force, but through space. So maybe this moment is just a pause, a breath before the next decision, not a failure or a delay. Just a reminder that you're allowed to move forward at a human pace, not a market's pace.